Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of Bitcade. This is episode 36. My name is Ryan E. Moore, but joining me, like always, is...
Oh, it's me. It's Ashton.
It is Ashton, yes. We're still back in the audio form, just like normal, but before we get into that, we also have a very special guest with us today. Who is our very special guest today?
It's Allie!
Yes, it is! Allie, thank you for joining us. How do we know each other? A little brief going by there.
We work together.
Yes, we do. And that's about it. That's all there is to it.
We didn't hang out or anything, or...
No, we didn't, have a whole group and play, Cards Against Humanity for however long. But that's for a different show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bitcade, where we talk about 3 topics each week. We break it out for you and talk about those topics. In this episode 36, we were talking about the 2014 Game of the Decade representative. That's what it's going to be. They're going to go up against the games that we've already selected in the past couple of years, so the past couple of episodes that we've done. And then we're going to talk about overhyped games that have come out that we expected so much more, and then it just failed and disappointed millions and millions at home. And then also, we're going to talk about why we still play X. Why do we still play insert the game here? And you'll see what games those are in the third bit. But let's start with the first topic. The first topic is 2014 Game of the Decade. Ashton, why don't you roll down what the whole point of what we're doing for the Game of the Decade in a little brief recap so far. What are we doing with this topic?
So basically we just pick a game, like a list of games from each decade starting, I think we started from 2010.
Yes.
And we're going through 2020. And we pick a game for each year. We narrow it down to one game for each year and moves to the next round. And at the end of 2020, we will pick the top of those games as the game of the decade.
So, we already explained how this kind of works with Allie, and we all picked some representatives, and now we're going to narrow it down to what games we should have fighting it out. The games that we have representing 2014 are The Sims 4, Titanfall, Child of Light, Wolfenstein the New Order, Destiny, PT, The Evil Within, Sunset Overdrive, Far Cry 4, Bravely Default, and Hearthstone. Allie, are any of those games stick out to you? Did you play any of those games that came out?
Oh man, we're just gonna call me out.
Yeah, I'm throwing you into the fire right now.
Yeah, you're just gonna call me right out on that one. Sims 4, 1900 hours. I don't even know how.
Oh my god.
I really don't know how. I can't explain.
Is that legit? Is that legit? 1900 hours? To be.
And I can screenshot it.
Oh god.
And that's not even including what's on the PS4 either.
Oh my good god. I can't even imagine playing a game for that long.
I'm sorry, that game is just, I don't even know. You get the life you can't have in real life.
Yeah, I always wanted to party with like Katy Perry and whatnot, and whatever other celebrities they've thrown into that.
Just have people drowning in a pool at your party. It's fine.
Oh, that took a dark turn. I didn't think that that was. Ashton, did you play Sims 4? Did you ever play?
No, I think the last Sims I played was Bustin' Out on the GameCube.
Oh, jeez. I think the last Sims game I played was The Sims on PS2.
Holy hell.
Allie, Titanfall. Was that a game that you played?
I did not, because I was working at GameStop at the time, and I was like, oh, this game is really overhyped, and I work in a place where internet is not a thing. It was a bad time, because I knew a lot of people pre-ordered, and they were so excited, and I knew half of them did not have internet, so I had to return that game a lot, and I just was like, yeah, that one.
Yeah, that was...
Wasn't it also exclusive to Xbox for a while, too?
That one was... I think it was always... Have they made Titanfall for PS4? I think Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 definitely is. I think Xbox has the exclusive rights to to the first one.
First Titan one, right? Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's the other reason why I didn't play, was obviously because I didn't have an Xbox, so that didn't help. But I kind of saw it coming, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm. It was writing on the wall, as they say. Ashton, Titanfall. Did you play Titanfall?
I did play Titanfall. I enjoyed it. But I mean, it was obviously there was something that was lacking. I couldn't quite narrow it down. Most of the
like a
people
campaign.
Yeah, the campaign was obviously one of them, but like gameplay
Paying only online.
That is also true. Yeah, too early for the always online stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they tried to push that too early.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I think it was too late by the time they pushed it out for that.
And then
Xbox did that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I recently heard that, like, I guess what I didn't know was that they were a part of what is now Apex. So then, like, Apex has some of the guns on there now that was originally in Titanfall.
Yeah, because isn't it Apex is in the Titanfall universe? I think that's how that's.
I think
all
so.
Worked out. Yeah. Yeah, I played Titanfall. It was definitely a game that was. I think it was ahead of its time, and the fact that the always online thing was definitely a little bit pulling the trigger too early, but someone had to do it. So one of those games was gonna be the first to like break the mold of, hey, we're gonna go always online. It was totally a different situation, and then also with the campaign being online as well, and you had to just join a lobby, and it was just this ever rotating campaign lobby, and then you could jump in halfway through the story and not know what's happening, and then it resets, and then you're like, oh, okay, now I know what the story's about. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of customization either.
No, it was cool though. Giant mechs things were running around. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, I feel like it just wasn't very polished overall. Mm-hmm. Now, the wall running apparently was like most people love. Was like it hasn't been better in any other game.
No, I still think to this day Titanfall 2 has, because they fixed it, like even the stuff the wall running and the moving around. It's definitely, and it's the ex Call of Duty crew at that point. That was the ex Modern Warfare people. The
Respawn.
Yeah, Respawn is the one that made the company, but the what is it? Infinity Ward. Those are the guys that all left Infinity Ward to go make, because they were like, we're done with Call of Duty, peace out, and then they went off and made, that was their first game that they made. So. Child of Light. Did you guys play this game, Child of Light, Allie?
No,
I did not.
Okay, it was arcade game, or not arcade. I guess they kind of lost it. Indie game, but Ubisoft published it, I believe, and so it was. Yeah, it was good. It's nice and bright and colorful. Has a nice art style. Wolfenstein: The New Order. Allie, are you a Wolfenstein fan?
Yeah. I mean, that was the first game, actually the first Wolfenstein I ever played.
Same here.
And I was sold in.
Oh, it cuts off. It cuts off if anyone talks. We're doing this through Discord, so if anything happens, this is the whole thing, that the whole rigmarole here, that we're dealing with. Allie, are you still with us here?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Sorry, but Wolfenstein: The New Order. Go ahead. And...
It was fun, gory. The whole, like, the backstory and everything was great. I think that's the reason why I was like, ooh, like, what if the Nazis had won? Like, that whole part of that story was why I was sold. I was like, interesting, and it was good, gory, and I think it was always action. I think
because like I didn't expect to have a pretty decent campaign. That was a pretty good story that they even told, with BJ Blazkowicz, who used to be this dull mute that like ran around and killed Nazis, and now he has this kind of an emotional story being told now. But
right, because wasn't he like bedridden at one point?
Yeah, and then he meets Anya, is that her name?
I believe so.
Yeah, and falls in love, which I'm like, what the hell is happening here? Like, what kind of Wolfenstein game is this? But yeah, I yeah. Anything else about Wolfenstein you liked? I don't know if the push to talk there.
No. No, I know. I'm like trying to think about it, but I don't know. It was just one of the first Wolfensteins. And then I don't know if you saw like the little what is it called? Like little Easter egg where you could actually play the old Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
I forget where it was.
Yeah,
but you could like, I think it was at a TV or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like on a TV in the room, and you could just walk up to it and play it. And that was like, oh, I've never played this. I was like, oh, that was a different way of seeing it, I guess.
Yeah, they actually did bring that back in like Wolfenstein 2, where you like have a nightmare and you like go into this whole you go back into Wolfenstein as well.
Nightmare of playing on really low graphic.
It is funny though too, because like he's still his like 3D model, but he's in the like pixelated world. Ashton, did you play Wolfenstein the New Order?
No, I didn't. That was I think the one. Didn't you play a different one on stream?
I played both. I played both.
You played both? Okay. Well, whatever one that I watched you play on stream was pretty cool. I just never ended up playing it myself.
Yeah, the story of it is definitely this like, once you kind of know it, you know it. But I think the gameplay also, there are some shenanigans that are thrown at you in that game that make it a little bit difficult, especially when the second one comes out. It's like, what the heck? This is way overload of this is not normal. This is definitely on hard mode. But I definitely think Wolfenstein is pretty good.
And they make fun of you for choosing like
yeah.
What is it, like easy mode and normal mode? Like they make fun of you for that. And
yeah, it's like baby mode or something like
that.
They
make you. Yeah, it's like baby mode, and like they put you like in a little baby hat and like a little sucker. And
yeah, it's pretty sweet. I mean, I love the gore factor and just how fucking brutal it is.
Oh yeah. I
think it's pretty sick.
There's definitely a lot of violence in the game, but you're killing Nazis, and like Allie was touching on the whole alternate universe aspect of things. That intrigued me right out of the gate of like what would have happened if the Nazis had won World War II, and you are essentially there at the beginning of all this is happening, and then the next game picks up right into a different scenario, but also just as like intriguing of it is. But yeah, that's definitely good. Next game that we should probably talk about is, it's a little game. Not very many people play it. Destiny came out also this year in 2014. Yeah, I don't know who wants to start here. I don't know if we want to keep the same order. But Destiny came out.
I mean, yeah, I can probably. Oh my god, I don't.
Put some.
Oh, where do I start? It's that is such a small game. I don't even know how many hours I put into that game.
Well, I really.
Yeah, you know, when did I really get into it? I know at first it was my first time ever playing something that was pure grind and having to like earn your shit, and it was just I didn't like it at first. And then once the DLC for like Oryx, which is where like you had like the darker art and things like that, is where I fell in love with it, because it was like like I don't know, like the whole gear was nice, and then you had Crota and I don't know, all those raids. I missed out, unfortunately, like the first wave of raids, which was when you could like knock off one of the raid bosses off of the maps and stuff like that. Like I missed all of that. I think it was until like the second round when they brought them all back and they like remastered all of the raids, and then you were like getting higher oh god, what is it, higher power, or was it higher light gear again? Yeah, but you had like shards and stuff that you could put into them to make them like glow, and I love that aspect to it too, because I think I got like my Titan had all Crota gear, and like my Warlock had I had all three classes maxed. It was a different time.
Do you remember which class you started with?
Warlock, 100%.
Warlock, yeah. I feel like everyone went Warlock, because why not? You're like a space wizard.
No,
most people
Hunters.
Hunter or Titan.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Warlock. I loved Warlock. Honestly, yeah, Warlock was where I started, and then ended with, honestly, Destiny 2, though, I was sold on Titans.
Yeah, because of the
shoulder checking. Yeah, shoulder checking was still, like kicking.
Well, it's that Captain America shield that you also got in that thing, too.
Well, people use hammers mostly.
Yeah, hammers was definitely
the Panic was fucking incredibly buffed. I hate. Destiny 2 ruined a lot of shit,
but yeah, no, it was a great time. Raids I had like the same common raid group, and it was such a hassle to get everyone on, but when we did, it was like at midnight and going on till 3 a.m, and everyone's like messing up at the raids because everyone's so tired. And
I think that's definitely
It's hell.
It came at a good time because I think it's because of the failure of Titanfall of like, okay, we got the bad like experience of always being online. Now, here's the giant game that like everyone's been talking about. We want to play this game. Activision is, pushing forward Bungie and like all this huge thing, and it was an interesting because no one knew what it was going to be. That was the big thing. It's like, what has Bungie got? What is this company known for making Halo gonna come out and like swing with? And yeah, I remember playing it as like that was like the high school game. Like everyone was in high school was playing Destiny and running the raids and stuff like that.
I mean, you were, I wasn't.
You're only a year older.
No, I'm gonna be 27.
Okay, 2 years older.
I was definitely out of high school. I couldn't say that. I was still playing Call of Duty in high school.
Yeah.
And then like you guys said, Titanfall was kind of like, yeah, only online, and they kind of just threw you into it. Whereas in Destiny, it was like they let you do everything, the story offline to a point, and then they were like, all right, let's shove you into online. So they let you understand the beginning of the story and everything without just shoving you into the story, middle of the story, or anything like that. Like they kind of set you in the way that you were going to get the full extent of the story without like throwing you in the middle of anything.
Yeah. Ashton, you're known to, play some Destiny here and there. What did you think about when the game launched?
So when the game launched, it was pretty sweet until I ran out of content. Which, when Destiny first came out, I mean, it had basically the main story only took maybe about if you were experienced, it only took you maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours to actually complete the game.
Yeah, it was a relatively short campaign, if I remember. It was like a couple hours. You could kind of grind it a little bit.
I really did enjoy the PvP, and most of the content that they did release for the game was pretty fucking good, especially the raids. Yeah, I mean, I ended up putting in 526 hours is what it says on here.
Jeezums.
I don't even know how to check that on a PS4.
Oh, well, I can check it straight from my Xbox.
Different topic.
Xbox,
Different episode.
But anyway, I don't know. For that game, that was the first looter shooter I played. And first one that I would actually grind. There was stuff that you could only do like once a week to get the rewards. And that was basically the only game that I was playing for about a year straight.
Jeez.
I actually got like so good at it that there was this thing called Trials of Osiris, which is you go in, your leveling matters because in normal matchmaking it doesn't. You just have your guns and the perks work, but your light level doesn't matter. In this, your light level matters, and it's like an elimination based thing, and you have to go flawless, meaning you have to win 9 times without losing a match in order to get the top prize. And I did that on all 3 of my characters every week for a couple months straight.
Jesus.
So, I ended up getting pretty fucking good at the game.
See, Allie, you had Sims 4, he had Destiny.
I mean, yeah, I just didn't play it to that competitive level.
To that level.
I think the raids were just a thing for me, and it was raid resets like every week. Like it was we did that.
But see,
every week it was a new raid.
I think that definitely like speaks to why Destiny was such a big game for that, because there were different ways of playing it. If you wanted to play the solo campaign, which is what I did, I just played the solo campaign, enjoyed it for what it was, and kind of moved on with my life. And then, Allie, you talking about the raids and that you focused on like you probably grouped up with people and like played with different people as you kind of went through the raids. And then Ashton, you focused on more of the PvP aspect of things. Like there are 3 different ways to play the game and experience it and still enjoy the game, which is kind of crazy that there's something like that could be out there.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I thought it was for me it was like the most different game I'd played in like a very long time.
It came at a great time.
Yeah. It did come at a good time. So
yeah.
Maybe get an Xbox One.
Yeah, because at that time, yeah, might as well.
Even though it was an exclusive to PlayStation 4, what?
For limited time. For limited time.
Limited time, that's right. And we were getting all the DLC and stuff first.
Yeah,
I remember that. Didn't they get like the hand cannon or something like that? And it was like
they get a whole map.
It was like a whole year, and then it was like, oh, cool, we got it.
Because Bungie was salty.
And then Activision was like, with Call of Duty, they were moving over to that, and it was a whole thing. It was definitely all in PlayStation's hands at that point. Speaking of PlayStation,
there was a major shift.
Yes, there's a huge shift, but there was also a exclusive demo that landed on the PlayStation was PT. This it technically is now considered its own game because there never was a game that kind of followed after this, but it kind of like shocked the industry of what the heck is this game? Is it a demo? Is it nothing? What's it leading to? And it turns out the PT stands for playable teaser, and it became a Silent Hill possibility. It teased a lot. Oh man. Allie, did you play PT at all, or?
Yeah, I downloaded it, I played it, I was scared. Oh man, that game, I don't even know. It was terrifying. I don't know. PT was just, we didn't know what we were getting into, and then you're just like, it felt like something new out of a horror game, it wasn't done before, I guess, or it felt like it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And we were kind of set up to think, oh, this is going to be a great game, or whatever this is, or is it going to happen? And then things kind of.
And then Norman Reedus pops out of nowhere, and you're like, "What is this thing?"
And they squandered him and made him a FedEx driver.
That is true. Yeah, he became an Amazon delivery man.
package delivery guy. I don't know. It had so much potential, and then what happened? Just. Politics. It could have been another great horror game.
Industry politics.
It was politics. So I was super bummed. I was like, man, okay, I'm gonna have to get a PS4. Oh, they canceled it? Okay, fuck you guys.
Yeah. It was I mean, I think that especially seeing how Biohazard 7 came out, and then when you got Resident Evil 2, and how good those games have become because of the company looking at a franchise, and they're like, you know what, we need to fix something. What do we need to fix? And then when Resident Evil 7 came out, it was like, we're doing a whole different thing.
Got it.
Yeah, first person. We're starting anew. It doesn't have anything to do with their past 6 or plus, because of all the little branch off ones. It does have to, but not really. It's its own story kind of thing. But I can only imagine what like Silent Hill would have got if they would have just kind of did the same. They would have like assessed what the franchise originally was, what people love about it. Seeing Pyramid Head in like 4K or 1080p 60 frames would have been crazy awesome. The nurses, oh my gosh, that scares me now even thinking of that little like glitchy woman that follows you in PT. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, it definitely was really good. And it looked great.
Fun fact about PT though, modders got into the game and were like looking through everything. And you know how gaming, you basically only process what's in like this cone in front of you, your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Directly behind you the entire time is a ghost just following you around.
It's her. It's the lady. Yeah, it's pretty crazy that, and especially this whole like looping thing like became kind of a trend that people wanted to do. And I mean, I felt like we just needed to shout out PT because it's kind of the reason why we're called Primal Target. So we thought the initials we thought the initials were cool at the time, and we were like, yeah, PT, get it. And so ergo we are who we are now. But yeah, I think PT will always have a special place, and at least in my catalog of games. Even though I never owned it, I did play it. I watched people experience it to see if like people had different experiences. Yeah, it's a crazy game. It's a crazy game. Speaking of scary stuff, let's head into the Evil Within. Resident Evil creators making another game, not Resident Evil, and making the Evil Within so popular it got a sequel. Allie, did you play Evil Within?
I tried. I was a chicken. I'm gonna be honest.
Too scurry.
The whole fact of like, aren't you like you don't have a weapon, right? There's no real way of defending yourself.
Weapons.
Oh, you do? Okay, then I didn't get that far then.
Beginning.
But I remember her trying to hide under I like the fact that they give me the option to hide under a bed and a closet and things like that was just terrifying to me. That's like playing hide and seek the entire time.
Mm-hmm. There are some crazy monsters in that game.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just not. I don't think I was ready. I was being a chicken about it, even though I love horror games. But I guess I can't say that, right? If I chicken out.
It was a lot of fun. I beat that one on stream. And I actually have the second one downloaded. I just haven't played it yet.
Yeah, I remember. I think I only watched Markiplier play it, but like when he was, the upgrading system was crazy. Like there was just so many insane. Like you could definitely tell it's like okay, it's got some Resident Evil flavor in here, but it's its own thing, and I think that was really cool to see that you don't necessarily have to keep your. And I think that's kind of the difference between the Resident Evil team or the people that run with the Resident Evil crew and opposed to what happened with the whole drama of PT and all that stuff, that it's okay to let your developers start thinking about other things. And obviously, you know, we can even look at back to Destiny and like see where Microsoft was like, no, we want you to keep making Halo. Like that's your job. You guys are the Halo guys. And they're like, no, we want to create something else. We want space, but we want to do something a little different. Ergo Destiny becomes its next thing. So it's like, I think that's kind of just some of the answers we got from the question of like, what would happen if we let some like members of different teams make different games. And I think Evil Within and Destiny are two key points of examples. But you enjoyed it, Ashton? You enjoyed The Evil Within?
Yeah, so much. I was actually thinking about maybe playing the second one next week on stream. So, well, would have already happened by now if you guys listen to this.
Yeah. Another game that came out, made by, well, now is owned by a PlayStation company, is Sunset Overdrive, Xbox exclusive. Sunset Overdrive. Allie, did you play Sunset Overdrive?
That was the first game on Game Pass.
I did. That was one of the first games I actually got to play on the Xbox when I had an Xbox, but it was just loaned to me. And I got the game for free. And yeah, it was fun. It was something I'd never played before, right? Because it was kind of like skateboarding, right? But you also had like this like cartoony feel where you were running around killing monsters, right?
Yeah, they were all. I think it's like an energy drink that like mutated people into these like monstrous things. Yeah,
it was fun. I liked it. You mean you were like a lot of customizations too to the character. I don't know. I really, obviously, if you can tell by Sims that I love like customization of characters and what. I don't know if I finished it. It's been so long. But I did enjoy it. It was a good game. It was a good game to have, to try it on an Xbox.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Yeah, it was good. I don't think I complained about it. It was an interesting take on how to travel around the game itself was like you could skateboard kind of, but not really on bars that were around the.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like with I remember it was kind of an interesting thing that like Insomniac was making an Xbox exclusive game, and because they were just known for making not Crash Bandicoot, Ratchet and Clank, right? They were known for making Ratchet and Clank. I want fact check on me, Ashton. I don't know. But the thing is like when they now are making Spider-Man and going on and stuff, I could definitely see that there's some like flippy dippy stuff you could do in Spider-Man that are like, oh, okay, that's a little. It may have had that for a little bit. Now I'm curious though to see if Sunset Overdrive will ever make an appearance back on an Xbox console, because technically Xbox does own the name. They just, Insomniac is gone, so they're off the market. So I wonder who will pick up.
They did make Ratchet and Clank.
They didn't make Ratchet. What did they do? Jack and Dexter.
No, they did.
Oh, they did. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so Ratchet and Clank they made. Ashton, did you play Sunset Overdrive?
No,
Okay.
it didn't peak. Just by looking at it, I was like, I don't really care. And then I had other games I wanted to play.
Destiny.
Yeah, Destiny. That was probably what it was.
Destiny.
Exactly.
Far Cry 4. Did anyone play Far Cry 4?
Yes. I only played it because I played the Far Cry 3 was like the first game I ever played by the Far Cry, or like that entire like franchise or series or whatever you want to call it. Because if you think about it, they're not really all the same stories. They changed every game. You went from, what was it? Far Cry 3 was like in Brazil, wasn't it? Or like a cartel guy or something. And then you went to the apps, I think, in the fourth one. I don't know. You might want to check me on that because I don't remember where exactly, but I'm pretty sure you're like in the mountains.
Yeah, in the 4, yeah. That's Troy Baker's character, that one dude.
Yeah.
He's sitting on the throne and whatnot.
And he's like, you have elephants and all that other crazy stuff. But I don't know. I liked it. It was open world. You had so much to do. Kind of like, I guess Skyrim is fun too, but it's not as big as Skyrim if you think about it.
It was definitely where like Ubisoft was falling into their, I guess, starting up their like, okay, we got Assassin's Creed, we got Far Cry, and it's like just the map, do the missions, do the whole thing. You don't have to. But yeah, I didn't play Far Cry 4, but I did hear a lot of people did like it compared to. Would you say Far Cry 4 is better or Far Cry 3 is the better one?
I think I'm still sick to the third one. I don't know. I like the fourth one. The fourth one was not bad. Don't get me wrong, but it's just I don't know. The third one had.
Have you heard the rumors that they might bring back the bad guy from 3?
Oh boy, that's gonna be fun if that.
Yeah. Ashton, did you play Far Cry?
No.
Did not think
I tried it.
Okay.
I just couldn't get into it. I don't know. I just couldn't. It just wasn't. It wasn't doing it for me. I like Fallout and I like Elder Scrolls.
The style of game type of here's the mission, go do it, but you don't have to do that. You can do this mission if you wanted to, kind of thing.
Yeah, I just didn't care for Far Cry at all.
It is definitely a different flavor of things. I did play a lot more of 3 than I did obviously of 4 because I didn't play that one. But the it's because obviously it continued on. There was a sequel to Far Cry that happened after that, 5. And there is rumor that I think they're bringing back some characters from past Far Cries in this next one that they're talking about. So who knows what they're really doing. Ubisoft definitely, I think, is still going to stick with their Far Cry formula, though.
Probably. I don't
know. We got 2 last games here. I think we'll do them both at the same time. Bravely Default and Hearthstone. Did any of these games get played from you two?
No.
No, I believe one was on the 3DS and exclusive to 3DS. I did not play it, but it's also not my play style, I guess.
It's turn-based, I think.
I think so, yeah. But, I also the 3DS kind of made me explore something different too, because I didn't try that game, but I did try like the Fire Emblem for the first time on the 3DS.
Okay,
so that was like a whole different. Okay. But I did like Fire Emblem.
Yeah, I think that was kind of like some people are Fire Emblem fans and some people are Bravely Default fans, and then some people are both. But like, I think there's definitely a cut down there. And then Hearthstone. I didn't play Bravely Default, so I'm gonna kind of pass on that one. And then Hearthstone, the Blizzard, card game they came out with. I remember it was pretty hot at a moment though when it came out.
I'm pretty sure it's still going. I just don't know if it's as big as before. I personally didn't play it. I watched, Brandon and people playing in front of me and things like that, but I never played Hearthstone myself. I think I played it on like the iPad a week ago because I was asked to do it, and I'm pretty sure I had no clue what was happening. I was just playing cards and was like, well, I hope this works, and I won, and I was like, all right, well, it worked.
Yeah, I'm retiring now. I'm retiring.
Yep, I won. That's it. That's all I needed to do. I played Magic the Gathering, but other than that, like for those kind of card games, I did not play.
It is definitely hard to get into those digital card games. Now I know there's a lot of people out there that will defend them to the end of the earth. More power to you. I'm more of a physical cards. I gotta hold them. To me, it's not worth anything if it's code. I know that there are cards that are ridiculous amounts of money that people try to get rid of, but like Magic, Pokemon, baseball cards. To me, I gotta hold them in my hand. But
Funkos, No,
there you go. Ashton, did you play Hearthstone? Did you ever download that app? No,
not my style.
Didn't pass on the card game, huh?
I'm not a big card game fanatic unless it's like Cards Against Humanity.
Okay.
So yeah, fair enough with board games. Yeah, tabletop. Yep. Yeah, don't invest on those games. The card. Yeah, they cost you a lot
of. So what we're gonna do now is we've read off the list. I think we need to narrow down to. Let's narrow this down. What we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 games. Let's eliminate this down. If you had 3 votes, okay? So Allie, Ashton, you have 3 votes to vote on a game. You can only vote once per game. So, for example, I'll go first. I have 3 votes. I'm going to vote for Destiny, Wolfenstein the New Order, and... oh boy. I guess I'll go... based on the fact that it is still played to this day, I'm going to vote Sims 4.
Okay, you're the only one with the list, so you're going to have to read them off.
Okay, so we got Sims 4, Titanfall, Child of Light, Wolfenstein the New Order, Destiny, PT, The Evil Within, Sunset Overdrive, Far Cry 4, Bravely Default, and Hearthstone.
I'm going to go with Destiny,
okay.
Wolfenstein,
okay.
And do The Evil Within.
The Evil Within. Okay. Allie.
We're going to have to go with also Destiny.
Okay.
Wolfenstein the New Order. And I think I'm going to throw PT in that one.
PT. All right. So we have narrowed it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. So pretty much cut the list in half here. It is a pretty even mark of who moved on. So just because of elimination and time's sake, I'm going to remove The Evil Within, PT, and The Sims 4 from this list. Great games. Honestly, if you haven't played them, just go play those games. They're really good. But we have a tie between Wolfenstein the New Order and Destiny. Now, I want to, before we open it up to the floor here, this does need to represent 2014, the game that can be defined as a game of the decade. Can it hold its own against the rest when it comes down to the end? Ashton, I'll start with you. Between Wolfenstein the New Order and Destiny, what game do you feel should represent 2014?
Destiny. And the reason I say that is because it was at least for console players, it was a brand new experience, something that we've never gotten before. It's a looter shooter. It had separate activities that required different sizes of parties, so that had weekly stuff you could do. It basically, the reason it should be on there is because it got you to come back every week. It made you put in that playtime in order to say you're the best. You have to put in the time. It wasn't one of those pay-to-win garbage games that you see like every fucking launch now. It had so much stuff that you could do with friends. You get so enveloped in it that you end up going through like the looking for group posts and finding people to raid with, and you make so many new friends. You had your strikes, you had your basic story missions, you had the raids, and you had some pretty great multiplayer. It was pretty solid all around. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay. Allie, Wolfenstein or Destiny, what game should be representing 2014?
I will have to say Destiny as well. Like he said, it's, you spent so much time and you couldn't pay to win, and you worked so hard and your gear showed it. I mean, I'm assuming, Ash, you probably walked around with your Trials gear proudly, your banners, things like that. Like, it wasn't, like, you had to show what you went through or what you did. So like your raid gear, you could literally flex what you've done in that game, showing yeah, it was a great game. It's definitely 2014. It was new. We had so many different things you could have done. You had, like I said, we had the multiplayer, you had the raids, you had the story game. I because of Destiny, I can't play any other grindy game because of how many hours I put into that game, that it's just kind of, I get tired of doing something over and over and over because of Destiny, unfortunately.
That's fair. Yeah, I got to the point where I was having me and my buddy, forget which, I would alternate. I had like alternate buddies. We'd get through our trials games, and then we'd find people in the looking for group posts that were literally willing to pay to be carried. And I got paid, I think I earned like $60 out of just carrying people through Trials of Osiris.
Oh yeah, and I'm not even gonna lie on that one. I think I earned some money from when I went to PAX and they were doing your PAX like exclusive.
Oh man, I sold
were,
so
like,
many
your,
emblems.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
for Destiny 2. Yeah. Man, this girl goes to PAX? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Might add a little, somebody to our crew here. Yeah. I totally agree with you guys. As much as I absolutely love Wolfenstein the New Order, and I still to this day will fight to the fact that it is a must-play game. The series is become something great. I think it's one of Bethesda's top games on the list, if not is their top game right now, considering where Fallout is kind of falling in the toilet. But yeah, I think it's just it's great. But Destiny definitely changed it changed the game. It added a whole new genre that people weren't really aware of at the time, and I think based on your two testimonies of you guys actually devoting time to that game, and I know there were streamers that became big based on Destiny, and I think it's definitely hands down, it has to be the 2014 representative is Destiny. Now, I will say I have forgot one of the games, so I can't remember. If you have been listening to all the Bitcades, then great. But I can only remember that the representatives so far are Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption, and now Destiny. There is another game I cannot remember. Ashton, do you remember the other one?
Fuck no, I don't.
Okay, well, if you guys remember it, comment sections for you guys can just comment that what you think it is. But yeah, it is Minecraft, GTA, Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption, and now Destiny being added to that list. There is another game in there, but go check out the others to. You should be listening to the other show. You should know what's going on over there. Anyway, we're moving on to our second topic: overhyped games. Don't you hate it when IGN tells you this game is going to be the best thing since sliced bread and it turns out to be a moldy piece of shit? Well, we're going to talk about those games. In no particular order. Let's start off with Destiny. No, I'm just joking. Let's go.
Wow.
Let's go with something different. Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs, Ubisoft's answer to an open world sandbox game, sorta. That was supposed to kind of compete with GTA. Not really, but it kind of was. It's kind of that game. Did y'all play Watch Dogs?
I tried it. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm. Allie, did you play Watch Dogs?
I attempted.
Mm-hmm.
I think I waited too. It was like the reviews were all like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be great" and whatnot. And then I think I think so. I was working at GameStop and I rented the game, and because it was traded in like a day later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
mm-hmm.
So I think I gave it a try, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's definitely like, oh man, I remember it was so hyped. And everyone was starting, and then as soon as that game trailer came out, everyone started realizing, wait a minute, why does it look way less quality than the E3 trailer that we all saw a year ago? And then it started to get answered. There was some stuff going on. the graphics didn't turn out to be as great as what they were saying it was going to be. The effects of like smoke effects were like lighter and not as like rendered as we all kind of wanted. And then the story you played is, I think Aiden is the guy that's in that game. Who's very like blank. He's not very good main character. Had a lot of potential though, like the fact that you can like hack into people's games and like join their game if it was open, and like hack their system and cause more chaos to the city. And then if you were being chased by a car, you can like activate bumpers to like pop up, and then the car smashes, and you're like, that's cool. After the fourth time, and then you're kind of like, okay, that's just how I play the game now. But yeah, it was an interesting game. And then Watch Dogs 2 came out, was a way better game, and but yeah, that first one not so hot. Let's I guess start with another game that we talked about. Titanfall came out. We were already kind of touched on this one in the last bit, but is there anything that we didn't talk about in the last bit that you kind of want to reiterate? Why Titanfall may have been a little too overhyped at the time?
Well, they made it seem like this big, like crazy, like almost like Transformer level of battle, but they basically kind of gypped us on a lot of features, like the online only short as hell campaign that you have to like find lobbies for. For me, it was like being a Titan was the best part about it,
and the fact there were many different Titans too. So
yeah, but I mean the customization was pretty garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yes, yeah.
Customization was crap, and then when you're not a Titan, you're like, man, this game sucks. This is the coolest thing was like the wall running, and like he could shoot down like the AI and stuff. They had AI in the match.
Yeah, that was another thing that was weird.
There wasn't enough obstacles for when you weren't a Titan. So when you're running around as a Marine, you're very, very exposed, and it's pretty.
So you're saying Baby Diva, that are mech.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really get to experience the game. Like I said, I believe, and I'm pretty sure it was exclusive to Xbox, but I dealt with the whole brunt of. So like I had people, pre-order, and where I was working at, internet was not always a thing. And so a lot of people, I always warned them. I was like, hey, this is only online. So like you can't come back and try to return this game if you open it and then you're disappointed,
Yeah, that was a big thing. I remember that, yeah.
So that was like the biggest bruntness, because I got a lot of that where it was like people believed you made the game, and it was like, well, I didn't make the game, I'm just selling it to you.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm just the dealer. I'm just the dealer.
I didn't make it. And so that kind of made it even harder to like such a game, because it's like you were getting so much crap for it. But it probably did have a lot of potential, but it definitely did not succeed.
Yeah, I remember that was a big thing of where even when I bought it, that was the thing that people said was, just so you know, when you open this, you cannot return it anywhere. It's like it diminishes all in value at this point.
Yeah, we had to, because it was like, it was not within even 24 hours. I think it was the same night that it was returned. And I was like, I can't refund this. You open this. I'm sorry. We told you. And yeah, it was bad.
Yikes. We'll move away from Titanfall into a game that we haven't talked about, which is The Crew. I think just recently, they even shut down their servers for the first game for PlayStation 4, which is crazy. But yeah, the Crew was this game that I think it was Ubisoft that made The Crew. But it's supposed to be like you can race across America and do the whole whatever it is. It just didn't catch on. I don't know what it really was. I had no reason to get it. I think Forza was making way better games at the time. I don't know when the last Gran Turismo was out, but maybe even PlayStation had a car racing game at that time. But it just, I don't know, it was a weird game, and I guess it just didn't hit with people. Allie, did you have any experience with people returning the crew, or did you?
Was that an only online?
I
as
think
well?
it had online aspects where like you could join your friends, but I don't know if it was exclusively. But it may have been. I'm not entirely
I
sure.
think it was another one of those games where they were trying to run it on just online, I think, and then people were like, "What? Like, how do you even do that with the
What is this hot garbage?"
racing car?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like that's even the problem with Stadia. Is like I've had problems with that, and they're like when you play racing games, you're trying to race online, and it just glitches all over the place. But I can't even imagine like having multiple
GTA.
people. Yeah, GTA has sometimes like that too, especially if you play on PC. Good God. Ashton, did you pick up the crew?
No, I did not. I saw that and like, no, that's gonna be garbage.
That belongs on the shelf there. Well, let's move on to another the Division. What about this game didn't hit well with people? It got a sequel. It got a sequel to it. But I mean, you guys are the online players, so I'm curious to see why you guys didn't play it.
So,
My friends actually, Destiny. Oh, you want to go? You can go ahead because I'm not gonna. I don't have to.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So basically, the game had a lot of balancing issues on launch, and for the first year and a half, until they actually literally had to remake the game and restructure it, they legitimately like shut it down for a little bit and then worked on it again and re-released it as like a 2.0. It was terrible. So the content that they did have, some of it was good. Some of it was good. It was cool, brand new experience. Everything was great. But then you get to like playing it for, you're in the teens, you're at like say a cool 15 hours and you're like, oh my God, I've done everything in this game.
Mm-hmm. I think if I remember correctly, it had trouble at launch, and that was kind of a big deal for them.
It did have some server issues at launch and some glitches.
But so did Destiny.
Yeah, that's very true. That's really
true. Launch bugs I don't really count unless it's super game breaking, and they honestly weren't.
And they did fix it. They did. They did get on that.
They were pretty quick with that. I mean, it took longer than most people would have liked, but it wasn't like, it took them months to figure out their server issues.
Allie, did you have? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Keep going.
The main thing is that the big part of their content was the dark zone or whatever.
Yes, yeah, where it was like an open area where it's like you're not safe anywhere you go, kind of thing.
Yeah,
everything goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The loot was pretty shit.
Mm-hmm.
The risk was not worth the reward, and the community was very toxic. So they just wait at the gate and fuck you up as soon as you walk through. So it was a combination of community there, but the game had like pretty much no content, so it was terrible.
Allie, did you say you had something as well?
So, my friends from the Destiny, the Destiny crew, we moved on, right? We were like, all right, this is the next game we're gonna play. And, I was like, all right, like, sounds good. I wasn't sure what I was getting into. They all pitched in, and they were like, here you go, we got you, the Division. I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll pitch in too, and it'll be fun. And then, oh man, the second I found out it was like Destiny grind. This is where I said Destiny killed it for me. I was like, oh, the Division's like that? No thanks.
Yeah, you've been there, done that.
Hot garbage. The stuff, and I was like, I already been there. I've already spent so many hours on Destiny. I don't think I can do this on this game too. And I feel like a lot of this stuff too was kind of hard for me to understand compared to like Destiny. And like when it came to your gear,
different theming around it. Well, one is like modern day weaponry, right? Like, isn't that where the Division's supposed to like try to hit? I don't know who knows that.
I think so. Yeah. Isn't it like also like it wasn't like a virus as well that happened, and we were all kind of like
in what was left, post-apocalyptic sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess Destiny or not Destiny. The Division is definitely one of those games that it's like, I think they had a good idea, but it was just not gonna hit with what a lot of people were wanting to do. And I think it was still like the people that were gonna play that game were playing Destiny still. So it definitely was not willing to go for
but
it.
they also flopped again on Division 2, so I feel like they're probably down for the third one.
Yeah, yeah, because I remember when Division 2 was being announced, they did this whole thing of like, yeah, it's going to be seasons, we're releasing DLC X, Y, and Z during quarter 3, quarter 4, and you're like, okay, I don't
Destiny?
know. With the Division. I'm sorry, did I say?
I know, just say Destiny also did that
Oh,
same
okay, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Just say like, whose feet are, like whose footsteps are you following?
That's very true. That's very true. I didn't really connect that either, but that was.
I just feel they didn't learn from their mistakes from the first game.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people do still play it. It's just not. I don't think it became Ubisoft's thing. And funny enough, this is now the third Ubisoft game that we've talked about. The Crew, Watch Dogs, and The Division are all Ubisoft-made games.
Oof.
But let's step away from Ubisoft, give them a little bit of breathing room, and let's head over to everyone's favorite company, EA, making Anthem. Yeah, the hit game Anthem. I'll just go out and say it right now. I spent $80 on this goddamn game, and I never saw that money again. It was like I might as well have took $80, went out into my backyard and light it on fire. It was I would have had more entertainment, really. There was I think the game base was a cool concept. They incorporated this whole like dialogue choices and things like that, but it never really like affected the game. And then the map was cool because you could fly around and send it in this big jetpack thing and kind of Iron Man yourself out, upgrade it and whatnot. But the thing was, the story never really like kept going. It kind of just revolved around it. I don't know. There was just a lot of good ideas, but no execution on those. And I think it was just a lack of trying to be ambitious about it, but it never really became a thing. And I think it had lack of support. EA at the time was definitely not riding on anyone's good side, so it definitely hurt them in the long run, because I think this was like following the whole Star Wars Battlefront 2 debacle and the loot box systems and things like that, where there is an in-game currency and of a $60 to $80 to, I think even there was $100 game version for this. And yeah, that was a disappointment. Now, if you go to Target and buy it on sale, Target, a new game, you can buy it for $6 to $10. And yeah, that was almost a year after that game came out. But Ashton, why don't you shit on my parade even a little bit more, because I know you hated this game from the very beginning.
Yeah, I saw it. I was seeing the previews like months before it came out, and like, guys, this game's gonna flop. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. No, guys,
I said I wanted to give it a chance. Jameson definitely was on the Anthem team, though.
There's a bunch of people on the Anthem team. A bunch of people were hyped for this game. So it wasn't just you guys. I was telling everybody, I was like, don't get this game. Just wait. Just wait. Wait for a couple weeks after it comes out. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I would hope to be wrong, and then I'll pick it up. Wait 2 weeks. Wait 2 weeks and get it. Nobody listened. Everybody got like fucking day one. And it flopped in every way that I expected. I was like, it's going to have no content, and it's probably going to be buggy. And there it is. That's all you need to know. It was buggy, and it was also just devoid of content. It had nothing. Like, there was no replayability at all in the game. And now they're completely overhauling the entire game, and they're going to come out with a 2.0 or whatever, whenever the hell they're supposed to be coming out with that. So who knows if that's still on the table. I haven't checked up on it in a while, but the thing is, it's still, the little bit that you're able to play was fun. It was fun to watch, but it wasn't enough for me to be like, yeah, I'll spend money on this game.
I think the major thing for me that I didn't, there was no reason to keep playing. There was no PvP. if you owned a cool gun, you didn't get to show that off, because that's pretty much what PvP is. Even in Destiny, it's like, oh, cool, look at the gun I got. But now you didn't even have that. You'd be like, all right, here you go. This is what I have. Allie, did you ever pick up Anthem or watch people suffer from it?
I honestly didn't watch much, and I at first I was like, oh, that looks really cool, looks really interesting. And then I kind of was like, I kind of just, I let it sit and was like, you know what, I'm not gonna. We kind of learned obviously with all these other games that were being announced, and I was like, I'll let it sit. I'm gonna see what they, I'm not gonna let someone overhype it for me, and then buy it instantly. I, like Ash said, I waited and then saw how bad it was, or how bad it like just dropped, and was like, well, good thing I didn't spend $60.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I waited. I was always, I feel like we were at a time where we were getting disappointed by a lot of games, and it was like, oh, like, do I want to drop another $60? And like, what if it's not everything you want it to be? So it's like, sometimes we wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think even at the time there wasn't very much coming out like after that, so that's why like I pulled the trigger on it too early. But yeah, it, like you're saying, it definitely, there was just disappointment after disappointment that was happening at that time as well. And I think Anthem came out in like a quarter one at least. It had to be like March, I think. Yeah, February, March. But yeah, it was definitely a big giant crap in the hat. But you know what? I think EA hasn't had enough. I think we need to talk more shit about EA. Let's talk about the debacle of Star Wars Battlefront. And I'm even going to throw Star Wars Battlefront 2 in this. Now, I'm going to say lightly Star Wars Battlefront 2. Because that team has worked their ass off to recover what EA was causing havoc for them. And they have made it. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just... The Star Wars Battlefront... The first game.
I'd say slightly.
Well, with what?
With Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah, it's just like recently they've recovered it, but it was this whole the loot box system hurt Star Wars Battlefront 2 in the very beginning, but the fact of hurting it. Yeah, it's still hurting it. But the new content that they do produce is pretty good. They just incorporate a new update where now you can play on the Rogue One planet, which actually is like a 1-for-1 creation, which is pretty cool. But Star Wars Battlefront, the fact that there was like nothing in the game, it was like we were hoping for like Galactic Conquest and like all these game modes from the
battles. Didn't exist in that game.
The last games that came out back in like the early aughts, they just never happened. They just didn't bring those in. They were just like, yeah, it's just go shoot everybody. Beautiful looking game. There was just nothing in it. It was like,
yeah, it was pretty garbage. And they really just, they lacked everything that we actually wanted. Like all they honestly had to do was just copy the old Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Fair.
They could have done that.
Could have did that. I would have been okay with it.
It would have been cheaper, and it would have been way better than what the fuck they did. Mm-hmm. And they found a way. EA, god damn it, you found a way to ruin something else.
Life finds a way to kill itself.
Making me pay for all those expansions on Sims.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was definitely riding. EA was, and they didn't stop. Obviously, they continued on. This is the first Star Wars Battlefront. I think this was definitely like for some reason, I don't know what they got in their head where they were like, hey, we're going to just start doing these whole like, hey, Overwatch does the loot crate thing. What if we started doing that? And then they started just adding it to all their games and all these microtransactions and garbage like that.
The difference is Overwatch does loot boxes correctly.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're going to have loot boxes, make it cosmetic only.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that you have to be able to earn it too. Battlefront does not have that.
No.
Battlefront, it does not.
Yeah.
Overwatch, you can earn it eventually. You can earn loot boxes just by leveling up and doing shit. Star Wars Battlefront, the only way you're getting loot boxes, like the ones that actually matter, and to get you the gear that you actually want
and desperately need, might I add.
Yes, it's pay to win. On top of that, you couldn't even get Vader until you played like, what was it, like 60 hours?
Yeah. And then they unlocked the whole like, oh, you can the card system thing. That was such bullshit.
Fucking and the card shit needs to go.
Yeah.
Card shit needs to go.
I do like how in Star Wars Battlefront 2, you do earn them in the game. Like, so if you have, like, as in your mid-match, you'll have, like, enough points to then redeem them for, like, a Vader or something like that. You have to use your skill to unlock those characters. But before that, you have to have the weapon to do that, which makes things even 10 times worse. But,
you know, they fucked up so badly that there's new legislation coming in that EA tried to defend. No, they're just happy little surprise party boxes.
Oh, geez.
No, bitch, it's gambling. it's fucking gambling for being able to get an edge in a game. It's fucking disgusting. I hate EA. Worst fucking publisher, period. Hands down. They can go suck a dick.
Allie, did you ever
and
play...
I will
Oh, go ahead. Yep.
And I'll just keep playing Sims. It's fine.
Yeah, leave that team alone.
Yeah, for that part. Yeah, I played the demo, I think, and was like, well, this is something I don't ever want to play, and was like, well, I'm not gonna play it. It was definitely not something that was like, yeah, I want to play this day one or anything. It was like I played wasn't it a beta? I think they had.
It was a beta, yeah.
And I think I played like 5 minutes and was like, nah, no thanks.
Yeah, it definitely, and then they charged $60 for that flipping game, and that, I don't know, that always leaves like a dirty taste in your mouth, because you wonder now that there are games that come out and they're like $40, or, you know, somewhere even down to the 20. It's like 20, 40, and 60 is kind of where everyone kind of kicks around at. Honestly, the first Star Wars game should have been probably in the $20 to $40 range. It didn't feel like $60. I don't think any of the Star Wars Battlefronts as of recently have been worth $60. Even when I bought Star Wars Battlefront 2, I bought that on sale, and it was only a couple months after that game came out. It was like already on sale for the deluxe edition because it got shit on so fast. But yeah, I don't know. That one definitely was a little overhyped. I remember the excitement when I saw a TIE fighter roll around in that trailer, and then all of a sudden we got this, and I was like, oh, cool. But yeah, I guess let's talk about flying around a little bit more. Let's talk about No Man's Sky, one of the most controversial games that came out in recent time. Let's start with Allie. Did you ever play No Man's Sky?
I didn't, but holy hell, that was I don't even know where to start. It was like, it instantly, just took a dump everywhere. Like, it was so bad. The reviews are bad. Everyone was like expecting it to be something like amazing. You travel, space. It sounds fun. It's a whole different way of playing. But then again, I also play something else similar to that, but it's nothing near like that kind of. I watched it. I was like, oh, it looked really cool. Again, I let it sit and was like, I will wait to see, because like I said, we were kind of in that place where things were overhyped and I was not ready to. It was a $60 game, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it just was like, I'll wait. I'll see what they really say when it comes out, because like we said, IGN likes to hype things up, and we're like, hell yeah, and then it's like, oh well, shit. And I think that was definitely one of those games too. I was just like, the concept was really cool. I thought it was like, oh great, like I think I played it at PAX.
Yeah, I think it made an appearance.
I'm pretty sure I did. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did, and gave it a try. And I was like, oh, this is cool. But then I was like, but I don't know if it's something I'm gonna invest that much time into. And so I'll give them props for trying to make up for it and trying to come back and stuff. But it's like, how many people are you going to convince at this point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think at this point now, it's just because of the price range, and people are like, oh yeah, I remember that game. $20, sure, or $10, sure. CD keys, it's like $5, yeah, I'll buy it. It's I think that there's just definitely it kicked people when they were really supporting it, and then they were just like, yeah, all those features we don't actually have those, like the whole big giant multiplayer thing, and then all of a sudden these videos start getting leaked where they're like two people are standing right next to each other, but they're not actually, like, they're on the same planet in the same location, but they can't see each other. And then everyone started realizing like, oh, this game isn't as multiplayer as we thought it was, and it just became a huge disaster. The graphics looked like shit when it launched, and it was not a good looking game. But it definitely picked itself up and it's fixed some of the things that it did, but it took years for that to happen. It did not fix that overnight.
2020.
Yeah, exactly.
Like 2014 was when the game came out. I don't know it. And then didn't they like mention they were trying to say that, you know, the game is so big that you'll never run into another player ever?
Yes.
I think there's another thing they're trying to say, but also isn't like the traveling to other places hard, or like it takes a very long time to do, right?
Yes, yeah. If you do not have the like, what do they call it? I don't know. It's some sort of like light speed sort of thing. They don't call it that, but it's you have to have a special type of fuel.
Type shit.
Yeah, and in order to use that fuel, that's the only thing that makes you like go to light speed. But if you run out of it, then you're literally going in real time, and it could take you like days. So you have to go mine stuff and then go and like try and do it again. It is crazy of how that even works. But yeah, theoretically the game doesn't. You can't go to every single planet because the game is always expanding, which is crazy. But
ain't nobody got time for that.
No, apparently not.
No.
Ashton, you did pick up No Man's Sky.
Yeah, we played it last year at PAX. I got it downloaded and played. It was fun. But I mean, it was nothing like how when it launched is what I hear. So I enjoyed it. I do think it's still kind of like takes, even when you have that feel where you can do like the hyper speed, it still takes way too fucking long to get anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And you don't get it for very long either.
No.
It's cool when it happens. There are cool things that happen in the game, but I mean, there are things that I don't even know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. But that's where it's at. Let's stick with the sci-fi a little bit and talk about some Halo 4. Super hyped for Halo 4. I'm even willing to throw Halo 5 in this conversation as well.
No.
Just, I mean, multiplayer-wise, but story-wise, Halo 5 was really hyped. And then we didn't get exactly what Halo 5 was talking about.
Yeah. Fair.
I'm not going to... I will say Halo 5 has definitely fixed itself in the multiplayer aspect. But let's talk about... what I'm able to talk about is the campaign part of it. And... you know, that we got these crazy trailers of like Chief going rogue and this and that and the other deal, and oh man, are we gonna play as someone else and we gotta go kill Chief? What is this game? And then it didn't turn out to be anything like that, and it totally ended differently than we all thought. And Halo 4 is so forgettable. I honestly can't remember what even happened in that game. It just kind of happened. Ashton, you are the Halo guy in our crew. What happened in Halo 4?
Well, Halo 4,
or I guess with Halo 4.
Pile of shit. Halo 4 is literally just a game that you don't even have to honestly play. Halo 4, basically the campaign in a nutshell is like, okay, we're getting to the point to the story that we actually want to tell, which is Halo 5. So at the end of the game, you're just like, okay, so I didn't like learn anything, and now I have to wait for Halo 5? This is fucking bullshit. And then you go to the multiplayer and you're like, what the fuck is this? This isn't Halo. Like, you get there, there's like fucking stupid ass care package drops kill streaks. It's just like Call of Duty with a Halo twist. That's not what Halo is. Halo is its own thing. Keep it its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
The only good thing that they added that was actually needed to happen was sprinting was no longer was not a perk anymore, like it was in Reach.
Yeah, just you just do it.
Best thing out of it. The multiplayer maps were all garbage. There's nothing good about them. Some of the weapons were, some of the new weapons were cool. The vehicles sucked ass though. The game just overall was a complete pile of dog shit. Not even worth playing. Not even worth playing. I didn't even get into the Forge on that game. I was like, this is terrible. And I fucking love Halo.
Mm-hmm.
That game made me hurt on the inside.
Allie, did you ever play Halo 4? I know you're not predominantly an Xbox. There you go. All right, we're moving on.
Moving on.
Did you not have anything, or did you just?
No, okay. I the closest thing you'll ever get me to play a Halo game is obviously Destiny.
Fair enough. Well, I guess we can move on and talk about Evolve. This game, it doesn't have much to talk about. It flat out just hit the dirt when it got off the blocks. It was not a good start for them. This was the 4v1 situation. It was for humans versus one giant kaiju looking monster, and it retailed really high than what it needed to be. Eventually becoming free, and to this day, that didn't even save it. I don't know if any of you played Evolve. Is that
I did not.
Didn't.
I played the beta.
Okay, how did you feel about the beta? Did you see it coming as not great, or?
I mean, I liked the concept. I think we were at the time where we barely had a lot of what is it, like Dead by Daylight style games, you know, where it's like
thing. Yeah, like Friday the 13th,
the 4v1
like
thing.
that.
Yeah, Friday the 13th. Oh god, that game is garbage.
It sadly became it. Yes.
Yeah. So it was a great idea. I mean, I like Dead by Daylight. I love that game. So I was like, oh, like I've never played anything like this at that time, and I was like, well, this is kind of like a great concept to a game. It sounds cool, and I played it, and I was like, it's okay. It's not the greatest concept. You don't really, what is it? You don't get any like. You don't really get awarded for winning, if that makes sense. Like you don't get pleasure out. I don't know. It's not pleasure, but it's like just don't get it. Like versus Dead by Daylight, where it's like, oh shit, like I can escape and I can juke a killer and crap like that. You know what I mean? Like that kind of.
Mm-hmm. There's no like, oh man, I don't know if they're gonna. Yeah, because like in Dead by Daylight, there are moments where you could possibly escape. You can like get out of there. You can, as this one is more of like you're fighting the thing, right? This is now your offensive versus offensive sort of situation.
Right, and in the killers, like in the other game, it's like you don't have that, fighting chance or anything like that. But yeah, it seemed cool, had a great, idea, but it just did not hit.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't hitting.
It didn't slap. It didn't slap.
It did not slap.
Speaking of slaps, this one was a giant slap to all the Fallout fans. Fallout 76, we'll wrap it up on this one. Fallout 76, for all those Fallout fans, was a giant disappointment. From the very beginning of it, the always online sort of... Or it wasn't always online. Is it always online? You can't play that game?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be kind of the answer to the Fallout franchise, whereas Skyrim had Elder Scrolls Online. This was now, hey, how do you do an online game with Fallout? Well, apparently you don't add any of the original content. Everything is a robot, and if you're going to see a human, well, it's a human, and that's how that works. It was supposed to be this grand new thing that they tried doing, but it just didn't hit its mark. Do we have any Fallout fans? Allie, are you a Fallout fan?
Yeah, I definitely did like the Fallout game, the Fallout games, but yeah, that 76 was. I saw it, I was like, oh, cool. That's I don't know about that. It's fine. I don't know. It seemed like you said they wanted to do something like Elder Scrolls, but they completely missed the mark on that one. But I don't know. I don't play the online Elder Scrolls game either because I thought that was also gonna fail. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it has a pretty big group following now, I think. So
yeah, you hear them every Bethesda E3 conference wooing out in the crowd. Good grief. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, they did it well with that, but with Fallout, it just didn't seem like it was. I don't think it was meant to be for that game, if you really think about it, because you are speaking to a lot of computers the entire time. And you're running around and you're trying to stick to your story, but then also like trying not to get lost in side missions. So I don't know where they thought it was going to be a great time to do it online.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the cool thing, it was something that everybody wanted. It just wasn't something that was executed properly.
It wasn't that was not what they wanted.
No, obviously not. But it was like they were going in the direction that everybody wanted. Hey, yeah, we want to play Fallout with our friends.
That was that was what they wanted. That was the main key.
They could have literally just added online to Fallout 4 and we would have been like, oh, we're
yeah. Oh, how come they've never done that? Like, how come they? I mean, I guess with this, I mean, 76 was it, but like, how come? Do you think it could be possible? I don't play the Fallout games too often. Allie, you were mentioning it, so I don't know if you want to elaborate on that one.
I mean,
I think it's still, yeah, I think it's still too hard to add an online to these type of games because it's like you're so invested in the story.
Well, yeah, but I mean, yeah, I guess because even if they were to just make it co-op and not a massive online, who gets to choose like which dialogue tree you're gonna do?
Fair, fair.
Yeah, and I mean, you can do like even co-op would have been fun, but like not completely open, like not making it full online or anything like that. Like, but being able to play maybe with a friend and stuff like that, being in co-op would have been a great idea, but they completely missed that mark too.
Yeah, because I mean, Fable's done it. Fable did the co-op stuff where you can play with a player, and mainly what you did with it was you'd have your main person that was like the lead of it, and then you'd have your secondary people. But
yeah, and basically how they did it in Fable 3, it was the best in Fable 3 because in Fable 2 you just had a little orb, and you just show up as an orb even though you're both fighting as people. But in 3, like, you would go over to their story and help them with their story, but you wouldn't progress in your story, but you'd get like money and stuff. You'd still like level up and whatnot, but then you'd have to go back and do the same shit on your world.
Yeah. And then you'd get a cut or something like that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like, if you're doing Fallout or Skyrim for that matter, I mean, I don't think you necessarily need... I mean, Skyrim's definitely easier to make an MMO because it's... Obviously, we've seen that. WoW did it. Final Fantasies even fucking did it. So it's like...
Yeah. But I mean, with Elder Scrolls, though, they didn't make it look how Fallout 76 did. 76 looks like the rest of Fallout, where Elder Scrolls Online looks like baby Skyrim.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, yeah, Bethesda was just not... I don't know what they were doing. I don't know why they decided to just focus on an online game like that. And then they eventually opened it up with all these DLC things. They did the whole, like, Battle Royale thing they did, which was kind of interesting, and with the Fallout 76 game, and I don't know, maybe...
Oh my god, they tried that? Oh.
Yeah, it was was it last December they tried doing that? I can't remember. It was like a December they were trying to go for, but it was, oh boy, it was a disaster.
It was also completely buggy and the game would break often. And I will add that their handling of the feedback was awful.
Oh really?
Yeah, they actually, instead of just defending themselves, which they did, they also went on the offensive at the fans. It's just like, okay, let me get this straight. You make a piece of shit game that everybody spent like a shit ton of money on. You also fuck up the pre-order bonuses and not send out what was promised.
Oh, that's right. They did that too. I remember that.
And then you call everybody ungrateful. Honestly, what the fuck? And they also, again, are defending their outdated as shit engine that they have.
Yeah. They have
They're reusing assets from previous games, so everything looks like it's like the beginning of like Xbox One days. Like if you look at the textures, this shit looks like garbage. Go look at anything, and it's not like rendered or polished looking at all. It looks like fucking trash. It's not up to standard, and they still shit on their fans for not liking the game.
Yeah, and I mean, they did try to come back and they added the NPCs and they did all this stuff, but it was definitely too little too late.
No, they made it playable. Congratulations, assholes.
But I do remember the whole the special editions were getting all messed up. That was interesting. It's an interesting time.
Yeah, they were supposed to send out a nylon bag, and they were like, here's like this weird fucking
cheap thing we found.
Piece of garbage that, we couldn't get it done. No. It's your responsibility. Either give them their money back or say, hey, it's going to take a little while, but we'll get it out to you. That would have been acceptable. Not, you know what? No, here's this expensive thing that we can't do, so we're just going to send you this cheap piece of shit for the same price. Okay? Cool.
Is there any last minute things you guys want to say about overhyped games?
No, I think that was a pretty good some of I don't know if there's anything in the future that right now that's being hyped really. Honestly, all of this is kind of staggered. So we're kind of over what Last of Us 2 is pushed back. We have
You got
Cyber 7
Avengers,
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk, yeah.
Cyberpunk and
Avengers.
yeah, we're just hoping for the best, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know. Most of these games now are going to either be really great or they're going to be really terrible.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm kind of worried. But we'll see what happens.
Remake Dead Space.
Dead Space is great. Yeah,
fantastic.
But it's owned by EA, so it'll never happen.
And I don't think that studio exists anymore. So
yeah, I'm not sure. I'll look that up after this. All right, we're moving on to our third and final topic. All right, it's time to go to bat for the game that you still play. All right. I will be representing League of Legends. Why I still play League of Legends. Allie, what game are you representing?
I will be representing Overwatch and why I still play it.
Okay. And Ashton, what game do you still play?
Rocket League.
Okay. Now, here's the thing. These games are obviously still super popular. That's not what mainly this topic is about. This topic is pretty much answering the question of why is there still a fan base around games that have been around for a couple of years now, and obviously League is probably the older one of the two, but of the three selected. But the thing is the hype still stays with Overwatch. There's still a huge fan base. There's a pro league for it. And speaking of pro leagues, Rocket League has got a giant fan base coming down to rankings and things like that. And League of Legends is still in the top 3 games when it comes to world payouts. I mean, it is a huge cash prize and revenue game that this game has no story, that's purely around the fans, has succeeded on, and same with the other two. So I guess who wants to? Ashton, do you want to start defending why you play League of Legends, or sorry, Rocket League still? There's too many leagues in this damn thing.
So with Rocket League, it's now gone free to play. It's over on Epic.
Oh, really?
I didn't bought it. So it's anybody can play it now. The cool thing is it just constantly evolves in terms of gameplay. When the game first came out, nobody was doing these crazy flips and flying through the air and shit.
And now you're seeing ESPN Sports Center highlights,
yeah.
Literally Sports Center highlights for this game.
The amount of skill this game takes to get to that nice high as shit ceiling is just crazy.
I was even noticing it when you were playing at PAX, when you were playing in the tournament.
Yeah, I've got a decent amount of hours, and I'll check here while I'm explaining. But the game is just, for some reason, you just get inspired to play even more the more crazy shit you see people do. And they have it to where you can actually, they have it set up pretty nice for new players as well, where they have all these trainings that they have made themselves, so that way you can get
that Psyonix
has made. And they also have ones that you can create your own, or you can upload them for other people to play. So they'll have warm-ups and stuff. There's also private matches that now has they have new modes on there. They have these crazy physics you can apply in private matches, where you can make it super bouncy or go super slow, make the ball bigger or smaller, change the shape of the ball to a fucking cube.
Jeez.
There's a lot that went into this game, especially for what it is. The customization is really cool. Everything in there is basically cosmetic, except for one of the vehicles that you would have to buy with real money. But overall, I mean, the game is pretty fair. So I don't know. It's a very competitive game, very competitive game, and it's very intense all the time. And that's why I really enjoy it, is because I like stressful games. I like games that make me fucking get really, really mad, because that just shows that I'm super passionate about it. Like with Halo or any sort of game that I'm just super into. You're 9 times out of 10, if you're gonna see me streaming, I'm gonna be screaming. I'm just gonna be
that sounds like me.
Swearing up a storm. Yeah. that means I love it. So,
Allie, did
God,
you
have you played competitive Overwatch?
There you go.
Jeez, I did play Rocket League.
Okay.
It's tons of fun. It definitely takes some skill that I don't think I have anymore. When it like first came out on the PS4, I believe.
Yeah,
I
funny
think it was
enough,
free to play.
it was
Free.
it was actually it soared to at launch when that game came out. It was a PlayStation Plus game, and it got super popular because it was free, and all the PlayStation people were talking about it. It's kind of crazy.
It's fun. I played it for a while. I thought it was I mean, I've never played a game like that unless you consider Mario Strikers the same, but definitely not. It's fun. I definitely understand the whole screaming at the top of your lungs. I think that game brought a different part of competitiveness that I didn't know I had, and I was like, I don't think I can play this on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. It definitely is probably the closest to obviously it's soccer, so I think the concept of it is to draw it more towards a sporting fan, that it's entertaining to watch, because like I haven't watched esports of Rocket League unless it was at PAX, and so when Ashton was competing in it, I was like, oh, okay, I'm curious to see how this works, and it's super entertaining. It's like, how long the match is, like 5 minutes, like 5 minutes around.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Yeah. So, or 5 minutes for the whole match, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It ends up being like 7 or 8 minutes, depending on how many goals are made, because it stops the timer. Goals made.
But I mean, there's definitely a watchability of, if it's even a 1v1, like there's still this like, oh man, how are you gonna get out of there? Or I guess the 2v2 I think is the default, right? That's kind of where the sweet spot of Rocket League esports is, right? Or is it 3?
It's 3.
Oh, 3 is? Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, 3s is the main thing. So,
yeah,
getting up on that stage was fucking crazy. Oh my god, it made me jittery as shit.
Yeah, I think that mainly where that's just, I think, why people enjoy it.
Yeah, and like,
and I hadn't played that game in months either.
What were you saying, Riley?
Like, the whole, I can't imagine like competing, because I've thought about competing like sometimes when I'm at PAX, but it's like, oh, like I can't, because it's like I don't like being in front of people.
Yeah, you're on
like,
stage.
Just being you're on stage, but like I've experienced that even with like when Destiny 2 was there, just playing, and the fact that they put me in the row where like people are passing right through you and they're watching you, and I'm like, oh god, people are watching me play, and I'm getting hot, and it's not fun.
Yeah, the anxiety
like,
starts to. Yeah, the anxiety.
Yeah, I could not imagine.
Yeah, it's definitely that thing of like, of where you're gonna, like, because we've all live streamed, so it's like it's a different aspect to be like actually at an event, to just stream something like that in front of people that like can criticize you right in front of you, and especially because there are commentators talking about how like your gameplay is, and so it's like a whole different thing. But yeah, I think Rocket League is definitely, I remember when that game launched and it was a huge deal, and the partnerships that they've had, the fact that they've been able to sponsor WWE pay-per-views has just been crazy. That this game, an indie developed game that was free when it launched for PlayStation users, that has now it opened up the topic of cross-platform when Xbox and PC and Switch were all talking with each other, and then PlayStation finally joining in on that, and now other games like Call of Duty have now incorporated the cross-plat gameplays and stuff when they're playing online. Mm-hmm. It's crazy that this game, what is it, $20, $25 to play this game?
Yeah, it was 20.
Started this whole trend, and now it's free. So it's definitely a crazy journey for Rocket League. Allie, why Overwatch? What's going on with Overwatch?
Let's talk about a little game called Overwatch. Oh man, where do I start? Overwatch. It came out in 2016, May 24th, right around the corner for my birthday. Yeah. So it was a birthday gift. Here it comes. It was something new to me. I have never played a game like Overwatch. I was so in the world of still playing Call of Duty games. And then Overwatch came into my life, and I was like, oh man, I didn't know I needed this in my life. It's a whole different style of game.
The hero shooter.
yeah, it's just I never, like I said, Call of Duty is just kind of like the easy pick up and go, but Overwatch is like, holy crap, look at all these heroes, so many abilities, so many different ways, and I can't fucking run and shoot, which was probably like the hardest thing to get used to because it was like only one character in that game, Soldier 76, is the only character that you can run with a gun.
Yeah.
And it's like, but everyone else is like, you literally walk at whatever speed they're going. Yeah, I played competitively. I was even in a team at one point, trying to make it out. Yeah, it was on the PS4, so it's kind of a little harder to do versus like PC, I guess. But I mean, I gave it a try, and I was a main tank player, and then
who'd you choose
sadly
as tank?
Tank. So
I know the answer to this.
At first, it was Reinhardt. Reinhardt
okay.
was like, yeah, Reinhardt was one of the characters that I was like, oh, like I want to get good with Reinhardt, but I didn't know Reinhardt had so many bugs, and then I'm pretty sure they nerfed him. And then I picked up D.Va, and then D.Va kind of was like, well, I'm gonna be D.Va forever now. And what is it? I have 164 hours of D.Va
God dang
into that character.
Just
and
D.Va.
Just that character.
Oh my god.
I have 965 hours played on Overwatch.
My god.
And I just hit my golden border too on the game.
Oh my god. Do they pay you to play it now?
I wish. For fun, right? Just for me to scream my head off because I'm angry the entire time. The loot boxes, great. Cosmetics, I love them. They always coming out with new skins. It's every couple months. It's like you have your Christmas, you have your Chinese New Year, you have
the events
every year. The events, every event, it's always different. They bring back the old skins, but they also bring new stuff to the game. It's never, we're just gonna bring back whatever we had, and yeah, you can get what you missed out on. Yeah, the competitive part was something I never thought I wanted to get into, and then I did, and it was fun and very satisfying, and then can drop you down on your ass and then not be so fun anymore. Like this game, Wolf Every, one of my favorite games, it also brought a toxic side of me that I did not know that I had, unfortunately.
I think all three of these games we can all say have done that to us.
Yeah, I definitely almost lost friendships over it. That's how bad it was. The toxicness of what it is to playing competitive and whatnot, because oh, we need 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 attackers, like 2-2-2. And back then it wasn't like that. It was like, F you, I'm gonna be attacker. Oh, like the other 4 want to be attackers too. Like it's still kind of like
no one was following the meta for the
and that was rough. And then D.Va got nerfed, and then that was rough.
But that's her catchphrase, isn't it? Like to nerf this.
And then she gets nerfed, and you're like, oh well, yeah.
The irony.
Yeah, they definitely nerfed her. They nerfed. So while I was still in the team, we went and moved on, and I was being told to kind of become a healer for the team, and I was like, oh man, like that's not what I wanted to do, but it's fine. And then I had to pick up Mercy, and of course Mercy was the easiest character to learn, and so then I have like 138 hours on her now.
Jesus. Okay, just to put that in perspective, Allie told me that she had about a couple days ago. She had 140 hours in Animal Crossing, a whole game, and then she just said you have the same amount in D.Va, one character in another game, just one character. That's crazy.
It's insane. I like playing, they award you for playing competitive. They give you competitive points. You spend them to get golden weapons. It's not like you can pay for them. I wish you could, honestly, but you have to actually work for them.
Yeah.
And, rage and scream and kick and yell at everyone and tell them that they're all toxic Hanzo players. Or, Hanzo or Genji players.
Yeah, Genji. I was wondering what you were going to mention, Genji.
Genji, there it is. Yeah, Genji is the bane of my existence as a healer. That was definitely not a fun time. But the whole, like I said, golden weapons, I think I have, I don't know, I think I have 2 tank golden weapons. So I have Diva, Orissa's Junkrats. Junkrats was a throwaway. I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. I was just like, sure, good open for Junkrat. Yeah, why not? So yeah, it was Sombra, Junkrat, Diva, Orissa, Ash.
Or Orissa,
the new character Ash. Orissa is also kind of new, not so new anymore. Yeah, I think Ash is a little bit newer than that. Mercy, obviously. Yeah, they keep adding characters too, but I think we've come down to the end here where Echo I think might be the last character or is the last character until they launch Overwatch 2, and I'm going to be on top of that one too. So I don't think anything's gonna get me off of Overwatch. I think
Overwatch 2.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they have. I think they've officially said it, right? Or yeah, I think they did. Yeah, at last BlizzCon, I think they officially announced it.
They have a cinematic for the number 2.
Yeah, that's right.
The characters are back again, but I think there's like I don't really see. That's the thing too. Like it's like what else can you really do with it? But yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah, I'm gonna be on that hype.
They gotta have a reason for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They have to have a reason, yeah. But
have they been updating with maps too? Have they been doing that? Or is
maps?
It the same maps?
Not a whole lot.
I don't think so. The maps, I think I've only seen a couple. I think it was like the last one they added was Paris. I think I could be very wrong.
Did you ever do the deciphering of those like cinematics that they did?
No,
like
I tried.
To find, like that one. I can't remember which one it was and who was looking at it.
Sombra was like the biggest one that was like trying to decipher.
Because there was in the Sombra one, I think they were pulled up the map, and then like Seattle or like some city in Washington was like on there, and like because Washington was highlighted, and then a couple other places were like had little drop pins.
Yeah,
on
everyone wanted to like figure it out,
mm-hmm.
but I mean they've done so well, and I don't drop money on loot boxes because like you can earn them, so why yeah. Now there's a reset every week that they actually added into the game, so you could technically get like 3 loot boxes a week if you win 9 games, which is not a lot. But I mean, if you're also just constantly playing, you're just gonna earn them by leveling up. So why is it gonna? Yeah. And lately, I've gotten back into playing Overwatch competitively again because they added it's like. So the newest update added role queues to competitive in a different way, where it's like you have to choose what role you want before you get thrown into a game, so that it can find the other people that want to play the other roles.
Oh man, I freaking wish they could do that in some other games. Oh my god,
it can be not because. So they also added a new thing where like they are removing characters you can play from the game every week. Yeah, so like they will remove 4 characters, and it's like you cannot play them in competitive for a whole week.
So they just they just ban them as
they ban
Blizzard.
The characters.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the thing that can be really nice and really bad on that part is you have one-trick ponies. That can't do anything else. So it's like you take that character away from them, and then they throw tantrums, or like when you're. So the other competitive thing that they added was just letting you. There was no like role limit, like you could be whatever you wanted in the other competitive. Now they added 2 competitive things, and the other one has no limit to what role or anything like that. But like I said, it's like you take the character away from someone who only plays that character, and they're gonna throw the entire game.
Yeah, that sucks. Like I don't think. Yeah, I know about like I mean, not to get into League yet. We're still talking about Overwatch, but like in competitive with League of Legends, you can do bans. So like when people are character selecting, the other team gets to select some bans so that the other team doesn't get to select them. So like for example, if Ash maybe not bad example because that character also exists in Overwatch. Let's say Teemo is like doing really well in the current update. So people will just ban him in the game, but that's not Riot doing that. That's the teams doing that, so that it allows this certain ecosystem of like, okay, I got to make sure that I know that the meta is saying that Teemo is going to get banned because he's OP in this current update, so that I'm going to be able to like try to adjust for that. But the fact that Blizzard's kind of doing that, how many what do they call them, champions or characters? Or do they have any names like for their specific?
Oh god.
Are they called
I
champions?
think they're heroes.
Heroes? That
I think
probably makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Blizzard takes it upon themselves. They're like, no
Yeah.
one gets to decide. We decide for you guys. I feel like they're just rolling a die, and they're like, well, that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, because
It's really that random?
I feel like, yeah, it's pretty random. Like
No.
back to back, like 2 weeks. Not back to back, but like every other week. I think I've seen Orisa be banned twice already since they implemented it. And I'm pretty sure I've seen Moira too, and I'm just like, what? Like, really again? So it's like, it has to be that random. There's no way they're just like having fun with it, because I think Hanzo has also been banned twice, if I'm not wrong.
How many
So
are there? How many characters are there?
Oh man, you're gonna make me count.
Is it like less than 50? Or is it give me a range. I guess you don't need to like necessarily count unless you want to. Ashton, I will be heading to you what you feel.
Name them off, right?
I mean, it was fun. But
well, hold on just a second. How many are there? Allie?
You know what? I don't really know. I think it's God, there's
would you say
there
more...
has to be like around almost 30, maybe not.
Really?
that might be a high number.
No,
I'll double check.
To
But
me,
go ahead.
that doesn't seem like too big a number.
Oh, it is. It's a
okay.
roster of over 30 characters. Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, League has like 150 some odd characters, so.
Jesus, if they did that to me, oh my God, I'd be very upset, because you know that I've collected all the Overwatch Funko Pops, and I could not do that.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the League of Legends collectors. Ashton, you said you dabbled in some Overwatch play. Is that
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I dabbled.
Console, PC? Which are you over?
Console.
Xbox, I'm assuming.
Yeah. It was fun. I just I was playing other games at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just been so long where it's just I don't really need to play it at this point.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. It just I don't know. It was a lot of just doing the same thing. So
sure.
I only have a day and 11 hours played in it. So
oh wow.
That's about 35 hours. So
mm-hmm.
I gave it a shot. It was fun. It just wasn't enough to be my main game.
Yeah, for me, I played Overwatch when I was working at Target for a while, because we had like a little crew that was just like, all right, we're all gonna get on tonight. Like, we're all gonna play Overwatch. This will be this big thing. And I will admit, I thought Overwatch was gonna flop. I did not anticipate that game taking off as much as it did. But I think what oh my God, what made that game super popular was, I think it's the fans. The fans made Overwatch super, like, the game does not have a campaign. It has these little vignettes that pop out every once in a while, and you're like, oh, hey, here's a new character, or hey, here's a backstory to a character that you've always wanted to know information on.
And they're fantastic.
And they are. I honestly think that thing, I want a movie so bad, because Blizzard is so good at animation. It's like, even with Diablo and like World of Warcraft, I haven't played WoW, so I'll say more of Diablo level like animations. It's almost Pixar quality of style of animation that Blizzard's able to pump out for Overwatch. And like, from the Winston little vignette to the Soldier to Sombra, it's like, and I think honestly the really well done one was the Widowmaker and Tracer one, because you had two characters and then you had them like actually doing something that they probably were doing at the time of when, this whole thing, they're battling each other kind of thing. And you see the emotions of both characters. And I don't know, it is really interesting of how Blizzard decided to attack the fan base of that in a really good way. But I do wish that if Overwatch 2 does decide to add modes, I don't know how they would do it. Believe me, I have not thought about it, but I would want to see some sort of campaign. I want to know these characters more, but there isn't much to them.
Just watch the videos. I'm just kidding.
I know, but I want more. I want to experience.
They're really good. They are really good, and I hope so too. Maybe some, I don't know. I've been playing it for so long that I just like I'm okay with what they throw at me. I'm just like new character, cool. Yeah, that's the sad thing is that I'm just kind of like anything new, I'll be in like heaven for them because it's like, I mean, like, can you imagine? Like somebody that can just bring out like Anna, a grandma, like, and make her a crazy hero that it's like she's shooting a sniper at you and healing you, but also can hurt you. And it's like you have a hamster running around in a ball that can destroy your shit. And they have so many different like hero concepts. I don't, it's just.
I will say,
crazy.
that is one thing I do like about Overwatch as well is that uniqueness of a character. Like, I'm glad that freaking Wukong, a character that somehow makes it into every freaking MOBA, is not in the game. They created a whole, like, each character has their own feel to them. I think that is something that Blizzard is really good at doing, and maybe that's the reason why there's not that many. But there's also the backfire of there's the, like you were saying, they're one trick pony kind of characters where you're like, okay, now what do I do? Because we kind of needed this guy in order to complete our team. Whereas like maybe other games kind of have those double ups that kind of fill in that gap a little bit. But yeah, I totally agree about how unique each character is. Even the original crew that came out, I loved playing as Widowmaker when I started.
Oh God, you.
And it's just mainly because the skin that came with it when you got the like first edition.
Why are you just like the big butt?
Well, not necessarily nothing to look at. But yeah, I did like Widowmaker just because I liked her style of how she can like grapple and stuff like that. I did, and then you can kind of combine that with a couple different characters. I thought she fit really well. I love playing as Tracer as well. Obviously, she's kind of the mascot of the game now. She's like the Pikachu of it.
Yeah, she is. She's right in front of the freaking cover of the game.
Exactly. What was
I liked Anna. Anna was my shit.
Anna? Oh yeah, we were just talking. Man, who else was there? I didn't really play a lot of Soldier because I always felt like that was the cop-out character. Like, if you played as Soldier, you don't play Overwatch.
You're coming from Call of Duty and you're trying to make it out somewhere else. Me.
What was
like a split second?
Yeah, I will say D.Va. I did love playing D.Va just because her ult is just crazy. The fact that she can.
Just like, can you imagine?
Across the map too.
Yeah, and then just like there's complete nuke across the map. Like the fact that it's like there's so many things that they did to this game that it's like, how does this not crash a game? You know what I mean? Like, like D.Va's ult is like you're throwing your mech across the map, and it's like, and then you can run around as a little person while you wait for your mech to come back, and it's like, I think. At one point, Reinhardt, I think he's still like the buggiest character is what they were saying, that he had over 100 bugs, and it's like, but we can't even tell, you know what I mean? Like the game runs so fluidly, not a lot of, problems besides, people, but it's every single game has their own, every single character has their own like uniqueness, and you don't get. And I love how like I think Hammond, which is the hamster, or Hamtaro is his name. Ham. I just call him Hammond. It's Ham. He's like, he has like, they have like poses that'll like imitate other characters, which is adorable. I don't know. They have like the skins are great. Yeah, he has one where he's like laying on his ball, but he's like imitating D.Va, where she's like laying on her mech.
Oh my god!
But they're doing it like they. I don't know. I think it's a lot of fun, and you can't, they've outdid themselves, and I hope that number 2 is going to be just as great.
I will say before we move on to League of Legends, I think I probably played more Roadhog than anybody. I like the grapple.
Roadhog is so much fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the satisfying throwing the chain, grabbing them, and shotgun blast to the face. It's just like.
So did you play while he was Hook?
When he was broken, yes.
Broken. Were you would hook people around the corner, and you're like, "What the? I'm not even there."
Yes.
Oh, it's
Where
great.
he was literally grabbing hitboxes and not actual characters. Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, that's
And
great, and it's still so satisfying to like
yes.
hook and pull and turn them into like holes and stuff. That's still satisfying. It's
Or you
just
pull
dropping
them into a
people.
team fight, and you're just like, oh, this person's wrecked. So, all right, well let's kind of wrap things up. We'll move on to League of Legends. League to me is definitely one of those games I hated at first, despised the game because I sucked at it. But I think that as of like since playing the game, and going from other MOBAs like Smite, I played Smite pretty regularly for a while after years of not playing MOBAs, because I played League of Legends back in like 2011. I didn't play it in beta. I don't think I played it the first year it came out, but I definitely played it really, really early on. And I've had the same account, have not changed. I've not made a Smurf account or anything like that. And the characters are just, it's kind of the same thing with Overwatch. There's so many characters, especially now in League of Legends, but they all have a different personality, and it's so crazy to see. That's why I'm curious to see where Blizzard takes Overwatch, because it's like, if they can keep up that quality of character development for those characters, then more power to them. League of Legends, Riot has done literally this game. They've done this game, and they have not done anything else except, obviously now recently they've announced that whole CSGO sort of type of game that they're making. They've also started, they released their little card game sort of thing that they've made. And then I think Riot is trying to branch out for other things. But for the last 10 years, we've had just League of Legends. And to say that a game has lasted 10 years is crazy, that has even done anything like that. And now I know how to play the game. I know the roles, the AD carries, the top lane and mid lane, jungle, and support is the meta, I guess, of it. I remember at first it was like 2 in the top lane, 2 in the bot lane, 1 in the middle. There was no jungle. Like, no one went out into the forest. It was like when we were all starting, and then slowly everyone kind of became aware of what was happening in League of Legends. I don't know. There's just so many cool moments that can happen. It is definitely super team based game. It really relies on how well that your team can work with each other. It's like, for example, the AD carry is normally it's super weak in the very beginning, but then at the end of the game, they're like the most powerful. They're dealing damage. They are smacking fools. And that only was really supported by a support, whether you're running with a tank or you're running with a healer type character. It really is based on the communication that you have with that duo. The jungler is all bouncing around lanes and trying to help people out as they can. Mid laner is just trying to keep things in order so that they don't just come straight down the middle of the map and start wrecking. And in top lane is mainly just to start, building their character. They usually deal pretty solid damage in the beginning of the game, and are to just keep building that character as they kind of go. But yeah, I don't know. League of Legends has always been fun. It is the only game to me that I feel like I can actually be pretty good at, and hold my own. I still, there's moments that I don't know too much about it. Like, I can't tell you items off the top of my head, but I can tell you kind of where you need to build in a certain character. And then, yeah, I don't know. League, it's also one of the very few esports I've seen live. The professional, like, North American Regional Championship at PAX West, and that was an interesting time. I have some little stress ball things of a minion, and I think of Ziggs bomb, and I don't know. It was just a fun game. It still is. It still is a fun game.
Question: If PAX West is not canceled this year, if they're legitimately going to be going and not just waiting for insurance, if there's a tournament there, you're thinking you might want to might want to hop into the tourney space, solo queue it up?
If we had 4 other people, I would be so down to do it, but I would not want to subject myself as a random and just totally let. I mean, I guess I could, but it's definitely.
I did it for Rocket League. I mean,
yeah, but I mean, I gotta know builds. I gotta know what character, what role. I can only play specific roles. Like I would say I main AD carry. Secondary, I do support. Top lane, I guess if I have to, and mid lane, I thought I was a main mid lane. I cannot be left alone. That is not what I need to be doing. And jungle, I have no idea. To be in the meta of the jungling areas and to know what character needs to go where, I don't know that off the top of my head. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like a little bit above novice, but I would definitely do it. Like I said, if we had 4 other people Primal Target, I would totally be down to do it. But it's I don't know about it. My inserting myself as one. Oh, who knows? Who knows? We'll see what happens. I haven't been asked. I haven't been.
It's a fun experience.
Talk about ranks.
Ranks?
Like how is everyone in ranks? Like you said, what's your rank in League?
Oh, I mean, I actually have not played. I've been very scared to play ranked League because I don't know. No one plays it with me, so I'm kind of like I don't want to let my whole team down.
Let me tell you something. Ranked is great. I don't do casual for any game that I'm playing. Period.
Interesting.
And the reason for that is because skill-based matchmaking.
I will tell you, that is part of the reason why I've been tempted to go ranking, because the current League of Legends, I think they had a boost during the whole 10-year celebration. And oh my god, there is some fucking jokers out there. I don't know what they're doing. They're off jerking off in the forest. I don't know where they're going off and leaving me by myself as an AD carry. But yeah.
Here's the thing, like you get to play with people that are going to take the game more seriously. Now that can be a double-edged sword. Some people can get a little toxic and a little
get tilted.
Get some hate mail. You know.
Yeah.
That's
go kill yourself.
Of course. I love getting hate mail. Oh God, nobody can outshit.
I think they just verbally say it to me now at this point.
Well, see, that's the thing about League is they have to type it, so then you got to look at it. You're like, no, nope. I have to see this.
Just like they just straight up, if you're like in that whole community,
you just gotta demolish him and make him look like a little bitch, and then the whole lobby just looks at him and laughs at him. That's fair enough. That's how you do that. You just outdo him. Easy.
Did you guys ever play League of Legends?
I played it a couple times. Wasn't good enough for me to keep playing it and make it one of my main games, so I just kind of dropped it. That's a game where you got to keep on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't believe so. I don't think I did or have. Not really I don't know. It's weird. It's not really my play style, I guess. I don't know. I think the closest I'll ever get to that was like, I think I played Heroes of the Storm, and it was because they were doing the Overwatch skins. Yep, yeah. So they forced you to play that game. So I was like, I had no choice.
Yeah.
And then later they released those skins later on in the year for free, and I was like, oh, cool, thanks, Tix.
Yeah, that was definitely like a. I was wondering if there was going to be this like battle between the MOBAs, because Dota 2 is still giant. I don't know if it's at the notoriety of League of Legends, just because League has gotten to the notoriety of mainstream now. Like a lot of some politicians, like AOC actually plays it, so it's like I don't know. But there's like a lot of celebrities that do play League of Legends that still talk about it. Obviously, it's a game. It's been around for a long time. Same thing with like Call of Duty. Celebrities start playing it, you get endorsed, and then it starts to happen. The Worlds is just crazy of how much money they buy out professional soccer stadiums because they're so big they can't be in like an actual indoor facility anymore because they can fill the seats because the fan base is so huge. And yeah, it's crazy how far League has kind of come from the little, it's the side thing you do at PAX, has a huge fan base, and then now it's like, they can't even do it at PAX anymore because it's so big. Yeah, I don't know. League is definitely, I think, one of the games that I can just keep going back to, even though it's like punishment every time I do it because I just get aggravated. But then it's like you get that one win, and you're like, I think I got another one in me.
Oh my god, that sounds like. Oh, God. Play till you lose, right?
Exactly. Spin the wheel. it is definitely that game for me. I think that's where it kind of comes down to the consensus of all of these games that they are all three competitive games. They all three have big major esport presences in where they're at, in skills and stuff. And why do people still stick with these games? Is I think it's just that constant. You get that sense of adrenaline that even if you're losing, you're hoping that maybe there's a possibility that we could come back and win this thing. Like, or you do win it and it's like, oh, I can't believe we did it. All that struggle and like we fought for this win right here. It tastes so much better. But then there's those losses and you're like, I'm fucking going in one more time. Like, but
so close to diamond, it'll be fine.
Exactly.
One more game and I'll get there. And then you're like, you lost like 100 SI and you're like, oh, well, fuck.
I guess we're playing 3 more.
Where do you rank in Overwatch?
Oh god, the highest I was 30, almost 3,300. And now, ever since, because diamond.
Oh,
yeah, it's like before is it Masters and then Grandmasters? I think that's what it is. And yeah, I stopped because of how toxic I was. I did stop for a couple years. A couple seasons of competitive. And so when I guess they implemented something else within all of this time from like the first year competitive to like now where your ranking decays if you don't play at a certain time.
Wow.
And weird. So because of that, I was only getting in my competitive games, getting my just getting the 10 of them in and then never playing again for the rest of the season. So I was just literally doing my ranking and then calling it quits. And I let that happen. And so I went from that to now I'm in platinum. And so it's been a really hard struggle to get back into what was a lot. The groove of things, the elo is hell. It's a nightmare. I don't know. And it's so hard because I was like, that new competitive role queue thing that I played, I was 1 game away from being back in diamond and I lost that one and it was like, well, shit. And then here comes the tumbling of losing 5 games in a row because you're like, it'll happen again, right? We'll win again, right? And then it was like, it's just a giant tumble and you're like, well, fuck. So yeah, now I'm like, was close to diamond like earlier this week, like a weekend ago. I was like 1 game away from diamond and now I'm down to 2,700 and I have to get back to 3,000.
Oh jeez.
So it's like and the games, it depends on how well you do in crap like that, and so like you don't always get the same amount of SR. So it's like you could get like 20 points and the next game you win you can get 50. Like it's never consistent. So it's like, and if it's one of those games where it's like you just lose for no reason and it's like they were lower ranked than you, then you're gonna lose a lot and then that's really gonna hurt. And yeah, so it's really shitty.
Mm-hmm. Ashton, any final words about Rocket League?
Unfortunately, I have to like solo queue whenever I do rank because I never have anybody on.
Same thing with me with League.
At least on my level anyway, and or they're already partied up.
Flexing.
And I solo queue to Diamond 3 every season.
Okay. And how is that correlating in the rankings?
So it's like a very small percentage of players actually make it to Diamond, and then you have to get the next league after that is Champion, and then if you climb through the top Champion, you get to go to the Grand Champ rankings.
Oh, this is kind of the same thing Overwatch has.
Yeah, I'll never be that good. I could get to Champ if I had like a dedicated second person, but
yeah,
it's like Grand Champ.
It's rough because you go. It's the same thing. Like they have top 500s within Overwatch too. So it's like you have that, and then you have top 500s where you run into like the pro players, and you're like, well, this is not fun.
Yeah. How did I get paired up with them?
Yeah. No, I've done scrims with like pretty high up top 500, like play against top 500 players, and I'm like, holy shit! Like I literally got nothing. Like I couldn't move.
Like they're on a whole other level.
Yeah, it's like being a healer in Overwatch is. You get fucked, and they are not sorry about it.
They do it with full-on grins on their faces.
Yep. No problem. Here comes the Tracer bullying you. Here comes the Genji bullying you. It's a nightmare.
Well, I think that's gonna be it. I just want to let you guys know we talked for this. This is a 2-hour-long episode, and I think this was
God, you guys
really
talk
good.
too much.
This was really good. There was times where I could have ended it, earlier on with the other stuff. Like we obviously didn't have to run through the whole list, but I think the conversations were great, and I think that they did a really you guys listening at home, if you stuck with us, oh my God. Thank you. But because each episode is going to be about like 40 minutes. So, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Bitcade. If you guys want to watch more, make sure you go and hit that subscribe button wherever you are listening to this podcast. Make sure you check out primaltarget.com where you can get all of our content all in one spot and links to those places that you can go and access audio or video wise. Allie, where can we follow you at? Where in the social media worlds do you lie in, and where can we follow you at?
Oh my God. All right, let's start with Twitter. Under babycakesAllie. I know, such an ego. I can't explain my name. And then Twitch is also the same as that Twitter handle, which was kind of nice to have. So BABYCAKES and then capital AL and then LLIE. That's pretty much where I wander a lot. I'm gonna try to start posting on Instagram, but I'm not too sure about that yet.
And and we're gonna put all those links to your Instagram, your Twitter, and then you mentioned your Twitch. Did you mention Twitch?
Yes, I did mention Twitch.
Okay, yes. Go
it's
check
the same hand, same exact.
God, you never listed.
Where was it? It's the same handle.
It's the same handle as Twitter.
Okay. No underscore, no nothing. It's just one whole thing.
Nope, no underscore on that one.
Okay.
Good enough.
And what do you primarily stream on Twitch?
Right now it's, Overwatch. I would like to finish Resident Evil 3 at some point, but I just kind of got tired of getting punched in the back of the head by what's his name?
Nemesis?
Oh my God, I don't even know his name right now. Nemesis?
Yeah,
I'm getting sick of that. Just getting pushed around. I'm being bullied, so I've been kind of like tilted. I wish I could. Yeah, just the back of the head. You're just like wandering, enjoying your night out at the town, and you just get punched in the back of the head. You're like, all right, cool.
It doesn't help that he can jump on a building and just full on cold cock in the head.
Anywhere, anything. He'll knock your ass down, and then he'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna keep punching you. Like, yeah, it's not fun. But yeah, horror games. Overwatch, I think, is so far the only stuff that I've been wanting to play with again. I play like Don't Starve Together. That one's fun to play. I've streamed Astroneer, if you guys know that fun little space game. I love that game.
And you primarily play on the on PlayStation and PC.
I do, yes, but one day I do hope to save up to actually upgrade a PC or get a PC, but we'll see. Frankenstein works for right now.
Yeah, it's working now. I think it did a pretty good job for what it was.
It runs Overwatch and plays Sims 4. It's fine.
Hey, there you go. Hey, if you can run Overwatch, I think it's doing pretty good. As long as you can run that like 1080-30. You can play it 1080-30, right?
No clue.
Oh, okay.
No idea.
But Ashton, where can we follow you at, just for the people at home?
Fucking Instagram, Sticky Shame. Twitter at Sticky_Ash. And I do all the streams. So mixer.com/primaltarget.
There it is. The links are in the description below. You can follow me at Ryan@Emore on all social media. That's going to be it for Bitcade, episode 36. Love you guys. We'll see you guys. PT Nation, have a good night.